Yeah, I'll make a post to Facebook just saying we're having technical difficulties. If you want to watch it, we'll post the YouTube link. When we're done.
Yeah, I mean, this is a small group, and
Yeah.
But everything's going wrong today, right?
That's the truth.
Yeah, this is crazy.
So, but what I can do is open this file. And share screen again.
Hey.
Well, we got,
you got my
label.
Slides?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Now, here's the thing. I made all these slides to kind of guide what we're talking about, but I really don't want this to be a talk so much as a discussion. So this is just to have something to as an outline, and also drawings and pictures that I anticipated we might want. And the real reason for doing all this is that it really kind of prompted us to make more progress, to try and get something to share, and basically to let other people know what we've been doing, because we've been trying to get this online connection to star parties, and we've made some progress. So, but I think we need help from other people to at least to participate. So, so here's.
But you let me read your bios.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're gonna do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got to do that.
Alex has to introduce us first.
Alex has
That's
to introduce us. Okay, but it's informal, so I
Right.
go ahead.
All right. So we have bios for three very interesting men. So stick with me here. Jack Chastain is the current MHAA president, past vice president, and member for something like 10 years now. His background is more technical than astronomic, but the interest in looking up was fueled by months at sea and large ships' binoculars. Jack has been an amateur radio operator, or ham, for around 40 years. He's taught various subjects at BOCES and has both flown and jumped out of aircraft. After purchasing one of the club's scopes, he became interested in methods of allowing the imagery seen from the eyepiece to be broadcast to a wider audience than just the one currently at the eyepiece. At this point in time, he's still working on the idea in concert with other association members, but was resoundingly successful with a Zoom lunar presentation using his cell phone and guided scope. Eric Myers is a physicist at SUNY New Paltz. His research has included gravitation in extra dimensions, cosmic string formation in the early universe, and the detection of gravitational waves in the past. He's given talks to the club about Einstein at home and multi-messenger astronomy. He currently serves as a treasurer for MHAA. Tim Denman is a retired Regents and Science and College Astronomy teacher from the Newburgh and Large City School District. He also served as co-director of the Newburgh Free Academy Planetarium and as co-advisor of the NFA Astronomy Club. He has been an adjunct instructor at Orange County Community College, SUNY New Paltz, and Empire State College. As a recipient of summer grants, he has had honorary privileges at Green Bank National Radio Astronomy and Observatory and Harvard Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics. He is a member of the MHAA and serves as vice president. His involvement with the MHAA is primarily with public event observing and publicity. That is the end, and I look forward to seeing this. Unfortunately, I'm going to leave because I'm here in California with family, and it's about time to start dinner.
Nice.
So,
yes. Okay. Let me just add one thing, Alex.
yeah.
That the co-director and what was the term? Advisor. The co-director of the planetarium and the co-advisor to the astronomy club was Alex Passes. So I want to. I should have put that in there.
That's okay.
So I just did. Better late than never.
So,
All right.
All right. Good luck with the family dinner. And
Okay.
all right.
Thank you. I'll see it on
Right.
YouTube.
Yeah.
If we're lucky.
Yeah.
Well, Steve. Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yep.
I gotta say also, Jack one up me, but I also have both piloted and jumped out of airplanes, so I just gotta throw that in.
Hey, so have
Let's see.
I. We have
So-
people who jump out of airplanes leading.
I was gonna say, I knew we had some flyers, but I figured I was the only one stupid enough to leave.
No, I've done it too.
Were you the pilot who had to jump because you had to ditch it?
No, I'm not an actual pilot, but I've certainly been at the controls, and I've jumped out of a plane. So
I gotta wait till I'm 90.
not the same.
I mean,
plane.
George Bush did it.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
Wasn't the same plane.
Okay, so I made a list of topics to talk about. That's just kind of an outline, and the motivation is pretty clear. But the first thing to talk about is the nanny cam that we've been playing with and how that came about. The second thing to talk about is getting images from telescopes into a Zoom meeting. And when we can do that, there's a couple of different ways we can do that, either a round robin versus using breakout rooms. If there's time, I can tell you about my long-term project to make sharing images from a telescope to people's phones, like out on the walkway. And I'm actually going to build an imager, so that's on here too. But I got to show this because when I talked to Teresa at the walkway, we were talking about pictures, and I pointed out to them that the astronaut who was on the walkway a couple of years ago, this is Shane Kimbrough, he's up in the space station now. So Jack, when you saw that go over, he was up there.
He was on it, yeah.
Yep.
I can almost reach out and touch him there.
It was bright.
So the motivation is, in part, it's driven by COVID. And for me, I manage the labs at SUNY New Paltz for the physics department, and I teach a section of labs. And we had to make big changes in the labs. And last summer, I spent the whole summer reworking things so that we could have, in the end, it was half the students coming in and the other half joining remotely. We paired them up as lab partners and gave the student in the room a camera to point at the equipment, and then they were able to work. We put them in breakout rooms and they were able to work together to complete the experiments that we would normally do. I think I had to take two experiments out of the rotation because we couldn't do them. They just didn't make sense in this format, but we actually made it work. And after setting all of that up, I only then realized, hey, this is the same way that they do experiments on the International Space Station. Shane Kimbrough and his colleagues are up there because the astronauts are pretty smart, but they don't know everything. And they end up doing a couple of experiments every day. So they're the eyes and ears and the hands, and then they partner with people on the ground. Sometimes I've got video of like a room full of people. It looks like mission control, but they're all sitting there watching Peggy Whitson cut leaves off of a plant that was grown in space, and then discussing how much goes into which baggie and what goes down and what goes and what part they got to eat in their lunch. So when we were not able to have star parties, or when we were only able to have a few people, we started thinking of how we could add people remotely. And I think everybody's got the lingo now, but maybe not everything. Virtual is this fancy buzzword people use for being online, and hybrid is and that's when our published title. Hybrid is some of it's online and some of it's in person, without regard to whether it's synchronous or not. But synchronous hybrid is the harder part to do. It's easy to have people meet in class one day and then do a video or some other kind of recorded exercise on their own. So we're trying to get hybrid synchronous star parties. And you can, this picture shows one of my students, actually a room full of students, and one of them's in the front, and they're doing an experiment wearing masks, and they've got cameras up on stands, and they're all talking to their lab partners. And in the end, I ended up using these inexpensive Logitech C270 cameras. I'll show you pictures of them. But before I did that, I got one of these to try out, and it was sold. It was like $27, I think, and it connects to Wi-Fi, and you connect with an app on your phone, and then you can see what it sees. You can hear what it then talk back, and it's steerable, which I thought was really useful for students to be able. The remote student could take a look around instead of having a fixed viewpoint. And I experimented a lot with this at New Paltz, although I got in trouble because see how it says security camera? Don't call it a security camera, because the telecom guys, they crap their pants over nobody's allowed to put. I get quoted the New York law on cameras and all this stuff, and it's like, great, thank you. I'm collecting info on all of these things. The cameras were totally visible, and we already had cameras in the room. I didn't do anything illegal, but I found that if you call it a nanny camera, they calm down. Now, I bought one of these for my home use too. So I've got one at work, and I have a personal one just because I wanted to try it out. They don't make this anymore, but here's the new one. They raised the price, and it has this little, I think people are worried about whether a camera is looking at you. I can understand that. My camera at work has signs on it saying camera in use because you're supposed to. But I think this one has the little cap over it. It tucks its head down, and the cap becomes a shield where it's closed. But so what we did with this nanny cam, we started experimenting with this, and what I did was I put it on a tripod stand. It comes with a wall mount, a little plastic wall mount that you can connect, and I connected the wall mount to a block of wood and put a quick release for a tripod on it, and put it on a tripod, and then a power pack, and that worked. But Jack challenged me to put a little robot body onto it to make it a little more anthropomorphic and less robot overlord. And so you can see the result here. We got Jack next to it, so you can see the scale.
I'm the banana included for scale, right?
Yeah. So, and we've been experimenting with this for the last few star parties, and it really has some really interesting properties. So first of all, it's a nanny cam for watching your child in the dark. So it's got infrared. So here's a sample video.
A little explanation might be in order. I had the Zoom session up so that we could see what it was seeing while Eric was recording it.
Right, so they were looking at themselves during Zoom on Jack's phone. And here's a cool thing. This woman's wearing a fur coat, but in visible light, it looks all the same color. But in infrared, you can see there's something different between the arms and the body of the coat.
Wow.
We saw that for other people's clothing. I think, Jack, that jacket you're wearing was dark in visible light, right?
Probably. I can't tell, but yes, I think it was like a dark blue.
And I did some experiments in my basement in the dark with this, and found that I've got a black jacket that shows up white, but I put gaffer tape on my back, and I could put a letter there so that we could tell who's who if we ever needed to. And if you want to see this, I've posted a number of videos on our YouTube page. Okay, so that's part of it, is just seeing it's not looking through a telescope, but seeing what it's like to be at the star party. And Jack even picked up the camera, the tripod has a handle, and walked us around a little bit. And so you could go around and see and say hello to people, and you could see the different telescopes and all that. And it really gave you a sense of presence of being there. The other one, we discovered it, not this most recent star party, but earlier.
What were you guys looking at? Orion. What were you guys looking at?
Oh.
Orion. Oh, okay. You can see it through there pretty well.
Check this out. See the belt?
Oh, yeah, just barely.
Now what happened? You can't hear the audio on this. Again, this is posted to.
Up to the 24-inch scope. Orion was pretty crazy through that.
It's coming out. I'm going to pause. This discussion is online, but when we first pointed at the sky, only a couple stars show up, in particular Betelgeuse and Sirius. But after it sits for a while, the other stars start coming out. You start seeing the belt and the sword and the bottom stars, and the same thing I've noticed happens with the Big Dipper, except one star is a little too dim, and the cutoff seems to be between two and 3 on second and third magnitude. And so the cool thing about this is, I think I'm wondering, I don't know, but I'm wondering if this could be used to teach people their way around the sky, because it only shows the very brightest stars, and it takes a while for it to cook and see it. But when people are new to looking at the sky, it's just a bunch of stars and you have no way to orient yourself. And so showing just this, where just, oh, look, here's what you're looking for, this pattern, brightest stars. Maybe this has value in teaching people how to navigate the sky. I don't know, but I thought that was worth mentioning. And then there we are. So we have a YouTube channel and we have a playlist called Star Parties, where you can see videos from these star parties. We also have a playlist called Testing, and you'll see some of the other tests of this camera. So here's how it works. And it's a little bit, the thing about this is figuring all this stuff out is it's complicated. Can we make it simpler? And sometimes the answer is no. So Jack's phone is connected to the cellular network, and there's good coverage out at Lake Taconic. People come out there in the summer and they want their phones to work. But he sets up a Wi-Fi hotspot, and the nanny cam can join that hotspot and then pass through the internet. And then it gets to my laptop, where I run an app that can show me what the camera shows. And then I share my screen with the Zoom call, and then everybody in the Zoom call can see what the nanny cam sees. Now, one of the complicated things about this is when you can only connect the nanny cam to one Wi-Fi network, and you have to do it from a mobile device that is on that same Wi-Fi network. So when Jack comes and picks up the camera, my phone joins his hotspot, runs the NannyCam app to pair it, to set it up, and it makes a QR code to pass the parameters for the network. And I hold it up to the camera, and then it joins the network, and then it's paired. So we have to do that each time. And if you want to move it to a different hotspot, to somebody else's phone, you've got to redo all that.
Well, unless you don't change it like you did the last time.
Right. Last time, actually, it sat here without changing, and so once we fired it up, it just recognized your hotspot and kept going. But if you want to change it, you have to go through all that, and that adds another complication that I'll mention later. So that's it for those were the slides I made for the RoboCam, and
Let me add one thing to that slide. The interesting part here is that my cell phone, which is connected to the StarCam, is also running Zoom. And
Right.
so, as well as serving the network to the RoboCam, I'm also able to participate in the Zoom calls. This brings, it's cool, except that it means that I have to stay within a certain distance of the camera. Now, the distance seems to change. During last summer, I walked, what was that, about 400 feet, I think, from the camera, about mid parking lot, all the way to the sidewalk at the curb. And I had good coverage. During the winter, I couldn't get 25 feet from the camera. So there's some atmospheric or something going on there that changes our distance, right?
It's the ionosphere. Yeah.
Yeah, but the point being, I have to generally stay fairly close to the camera, or at least my phone does.
But the fact that you're on Zoom is an added benefit, but you didn't have to be on Zoom. It could, in fact,
Correct.
be. Now I have
Or
a
I could be on Zoom. What I was getting to is I could be on a Zoom with a different device.
right, and I have a tablet that's got cellular data service, and so that tablet could be the hotspot.
I don't need cellular data service though. I could get it served from my phone.
Well, let's say that the Wi-Fi, that the nanny cam connects to the Wi-Fi on my tablet.
Sure.
How does it get out to the internet?
No, the point to that is that then works the same for every participant there. In other words, every person can use the Wi-Fi signal to do it, but you can also use the service from my cell phone. My cell phone can connect up to 10 devices. So your nanny cam is one, and if you don't have cellular service on a tablet, or what I'm going to plan on, hopefully, is an old phone, then anybody who's serving on the network, you can connect through that as well.
Right. And so we could have multiple devices here.
Right.
Which
is how I used to do it when I brought my laptop out. When I'm actually producing on here now, I would have that, but it got too much of a pain to run the laptop out there as well. So now I just have my phone.
Yeah.
But we do need one more device with that. So anyway. This time I just left the phone at the camera and walked around and didn't participate in the Zoom call. I think everyone was happier for that.
And we missed you because when you carried it around, it was a lot more dynamic. But it was fine.
Is that a technical word for insane?
For what?
Dynamic. Is that like a college word for insane?
No.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I had a lot of fun carrying it around, but it does interfere with my ability to, talk to people.
I agreed, and there are parts where you just set it down and talk to somebody about your car or something,
Yes.
and for half an hour. And
Exactly.
but you know what? So this part of it is just showing you what it's like to be out there in the dark at the Star Party, and I think that's part of it. That's what happens. So this was pretty successful.
So, I mean, we can have multiple phones hooked up like this, can't you?
Yes, and
So, for example, when I get my portable system working, it has a PC in it. It can talk to my phone, and my phone can talk to the cellular network.
and you could join the Zoom call and
Right.
share your yeah. This is what we're here for. This is what we're aiming for.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you have had a premonition about where we're going, I think.
That's the next topic. But the RoboCam was just the easy thing we already knew how to do to give people the sense of presence of what it is. But it was very frustrating that we were not getting. We could see the sky. We discovered that and actually see the stars. That's cool. But we didn't have any images from telescopes yet. And that's like, dude, if you're going to have a virtual star party, you better be able to look through a telescope. So yes, that's where we're going. And that's the next topic. Should we?
Onward.
Yes.
Okay. So, okay, so I've been experimenting in the last week with this because I have the club's ETX 125 and I borrowed from the college a Celestron XYZ phone adapter. There's also a Gorski that I tried out that's cheaper and just kind of clamps on. They both clamp onto the eyepiece. And this looks really complicated, but it's really nice because this mechanism here locks onto the eyepiece goes right in here. You guys can see my mouse, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's showing up well.
So this locks on, and then this little threaded nut clamps it down so it holds down nicely. And then the phone goes in here, and this phone mount is on a spring, so you can just pull it. There's a handle to pull it sideways to get your phone in and out easily. And then to actually position the camera of the phone over the eyepiece, there's 3 controls for X, Y, and Z. There's 2 dials on the back that let you do X and Y, and then there's another one from the side that lets you do Z to move in or out. So this is the name XYZ is kind of a pun for what it can do, because it's all threaded knobs that give you very fine control with no gear lash. They're just right there. Whereas the other ones, you can kind of move them into place, holding it and then clamp it down. And if you get it right, then great. And if not, you got to unscrew it and screw it back in until you get it right. So this one's $70 and the others are only 20, but man, I really enjoyed using this one. So we put that, and then the phone can look through, and the phone can be on Zoom and share the screen, and then you should be able to share with everybody. And we tried that. I tried that with the iPhone app, and it failed because it was too bright. So now here's the signaling. It's simpler. The phone can see the image in the eyepiece, and then like you run the camera app, or you can run Zoom, and use the back-facing camera into the eyepiece. Although that didn't, the default Zoom doesn't work. And then you're on the cellular network, so you send it to the Zoom call, and everyone on the Zoom call can see what's on your screen. You can even flip to the front-facing camera and people can see you, although it's dark, but so you can be there. And audio is through Zoom, and it's I tested it the other night, and it's quite nice. So Greg, this is kind of like what you're talking about, only you have an imager instead of a phone looking through the eyepiece.
Which is key, I think, because that's really, the imaging devices on the phone are certainly not set up for astronomy.
No, and that was the problem. The first time I tried this on the moon, it was just way too bright and overexposed. And what I found, so here's the results, is I had to use an app that had more control over the exposure to be able to tone it down a bit. And the app, I already had an app called Camera Plus that let me fiddle with the exposure. And by doing that, I got this picture of the moon the other night. How cool is that?
That is nice.
Isn't that nice? Now it's even nicer looking through the eyepiece, and you can do that because you can unclamp the cell phone and look through the eyepiece, and then you can clamp it back on, and it's pretty much already aligned because it goes back in the same position. So that's nice. The thing I don't like so far, on the left is a photo. You push the take a picture button and save it to its own camera roll, which you can then save to your phone's camera roll. But what you see on the screen has all this gobbledygook, and this is the leveler to show whether the phone is level. And I turned that off. This is the zoom control, and I don't know if we need that, but these And this is for manipulating the brightness, or you can play with shutter speed or ISO, but they have, I don't know what EV is, but it's basically how much brightness or white balance you get.
Yeah, it's exposure value.
Exposure value. Okay, good. Thank you. So I think I got it so that I can pop that up when I need it, but then it hides. So what I'm trying to do is shut down everything so that people at home will just see the moon and not see all the decorations. But you've got this big white button and you've got all this stuff. So I just picked the app I had. So the trick to it is you've got to use a fancier camera app that lets you control the exposure. So this is a success.
Eric, you were busy after we hung up the other night, huh?
Yeah, you guys were off in chatting in another breakout room. Oh,
Yeah. Remember, I had suggested that you needed something to manually decrease your exposure so you weren't blown out. So
yes, and
Cool.
so the next night, sorry, I touched something on my. So I got this to work. So proof of concept, and by the way, and shared it to a Zoom session. By the way, this does not go to the Zoom session. That's the problem. This is what goes to the Zoom session because you're capturing the screen at the time. Now, I suppose this little daisy is go look at your picture. So you could snap a picture and then go look at the picture and it would just be the picture. So that's a way.
Yep.
The devil's in the details in all this. There's all these little tricks you got to figure out and do to accomplish what you want to do. And we're trying to do this in the dark with people talking to you, or through a Zoom call where you're not there, you're just talking to someone. So this is complicated. And once we've got it working, then we really want to trim it down.
Okay, but with your phone, are you able to see anything other than the moon? Because
I don't know.
I got a nice view of the moon, which I sent out
Yep,
on
that's
Slack
coming
a while back. Oh, you've got it. Okay.
I
Okay.
copied it. Yeah. So
Okay. But that's all I could get. I tried planets. And
I knew Mars was up, but I got the wrong bright thing and got this. So this needs to be tested. And the other thing I'd say is, anytime you say, does something work or it doesn't, the answer is, I don't know, unless you've actually tried it and demonstrated that it really works. And even then, it's only under certain conditions because it's so complicated that changing one little thing might not make it work.
plus, I think Greg sent out a link one time to an article about using your iPhone for astrophotos.
Oh, okay.
And I looked through that, and the newer versions of the iPhone have all kinds of things that
Okay.
allow you to possibly look at planets and maybe more.
Okay. Well, so we should now experiment with those. I have iPhone 7, and that's why it's good to note what you use, because you won't be able to get the same results if you don't have exactly the same equipment.
I think your biggest challenge with the planets is just going to be their size. You're going to need, a bigger optical OTA to get anything reasonable out of it, because the size of Jupiter relative to that moon image is probably the size of one of those smaller craters. along the
Exactly.
west edge,
Exactly. Now we can maybe change eyepieces to help with that, but yes.
Well, maybe for that, you need to go to the next step, which we,
is,
use a PC or some kind of real computer.
Yes, that is the next step. So, but this works, and for showing people the moon or maybe Jupiter, this will work. But that's proof of concept. But now let's go to the next. Oh, well, if I want to have the RoboCam and the telescope on the same thing, which I've got them both out in the yard tonight. Here's the signaling. It's the same idea, but now the phone is a Wi-Fi hotspot for the RoboCam, but it's also on the Zoom call. So again, Jack, you were doing that. That was optional, but now it's running the camera app to look into the eyepiece, and then everything goes over to cellular. And then for the RoboCam, it goes to my laptop so I can steer it around and share it to Zoom. But the other Zoom, the image just goes to the Zoom call. So it's a little more complicated. Okay, so now this is Tim's imager. So now we're taking a step up where we're getting not just a phone, but a real, honest to God, astronomical imager. And Tim's got the Revolution. It's got the imager, and it's got a little screen that goes with it so people can see what it's seeing. And the battery pack. And then for an add-on for less than Tim paid, I think, this Wi-Fi emitter. Now, the interesting thing is it looks like it takes composite video input and then turns it into a Wi-Fi signal. And then you need this app called Wi-Fi AV HD to receive the signal from the Wi-Fi and show it on your phone. And then your phone is in the Zoom call and you share your screen and you can share it with everybody else.
And the only problem there is I have yet to be able to get get anything on in the night sky other than the moon,
Right.
which doesn't show up as clear as you would get using the iPhone.
Well, here's the signaling. Here's the phone. Okay, so here's the imager connected to its screen, but also the add-on Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi takes it to the phone, which is on the cellular network. There should be a Zoom icon in there because you're on Zoom, it goes through cellular, and then you're on internet to the phone call.
Yep.
So,
That's it. And we
and here's
tried
the
that.
result. Right.
Okay.
And I think there's an app involved in there too, right? Not just Zoom.
Right.
What?
The app is that AV HD
Yep.
app that you run. But I had to run Camera Plus. He has to run the AV receiver. So yeah, you got to run some app that can get you an image on the screen, and then you share screen in Zoom and everyone else can see it. And here's the result. And I think, Steve, you said this is probably camera or telescope focus might be.
I think focus and overexposure, yeah, a little bit together. Yeah.
Okay, but it's proof of concept.
Yeah.
Or operator error. But I'm not even sure. I had a different picture. I don't know if you've got that in your slideshow or not, that I took with my iPhone. But I used a neutral density filter, and that really made a difference.
So I didn't get that one. I just got this off the Slack. And
yeah. Okay. Yeah. My other one's on Slack too, but from a long time ago.
Okay.
I'm wondering if that AGC number in the middle there, is that gain? Like analog
Yes.
gain?
Yes, it is.
So if the gain is jacked up to 12, that might be part of why it's overexposed.
This is what I need. I need people who
Yeah,
know
and
what they're
that's
doing to talk to
why
me.
we're talking, and we want more people to help out and share the knowledge to make this all work. And Greg has an imager, but a different imager, but the same idea. Share it to the Zoom call.
Not-
And Steve,
And how many others have those imagers, Greg? Do you know?
I think anybody who does imaging has them. The only
Okay.
question is whether they can take it to a star party or not. Like the one that I showed last year, is a fixed location.
Right.
What I'm working on, I'll be able to take.
But that could be, this is what I'm thinking is that people could stay at home and get an image
yeah,
and
have to come out to the park.
put it into
Sure.
the Zoom presentation, and that would be part of the hybrid model, so to
That's
speak.
true.
Yeah, save you the driving, and you could be there cracking a cold beer and showing.
Hey, come
people
on.
what's your
Do you know how
stuff.
much work I'm putting into getting this mobile system working, and now you're telling me I don't need it?
I know. I
No,
think
no.
Stay home, we don't need.
No, wait a minute, Greg. People will be excited to see your system in real.
Yeah,
They don't want to see some imaginary, someplace else. This is really happening.
Remember, we're talking hybrid here, so you can do either or.
You would be the star, Greg.
I
Those
agree.
other guys, they're just peripheral.
True enough.
But somebody has to talk them into joining in. I'm talking about all the people who post things on our imaging page on
Yeah.
the only
on Slack.
difficulty is when people are making real images, like we post on that site. So they're kind of busy making pretty pictures rather than making something to show somebody.
Right, and they've got hours of data collection.
Right.
Well, here's this is a question, and it may be a dumb one, but I'll ask it anyway. Is it possible? I would assume it's possible for people to see your image as it unfolds over time. So it's in that respect, it'll be a
real-time
image.
True,
depends.
but it would be a very boring image.
Well, not necessarily. We did a virtual star party for Astra, and one of our members used a camera with the AISF Pro, which does live stacking, and he did make it do short stacks. So he didn't not what he would normally do. And over a short span of time, we were able to get some decent images out of it.
Cool.
So
And-
I can go
and it-
back and take a look in our newsletters, and I can show you a couple of samples of what he took out.
So, and it was real time, right?
Yes, it was real time.
It was actually happening. That's what I think of as an exciting factor, even though the image is not going to be, something to.
Jim, when it's
Brag
when
about.
it's stacking, does the image change as it goes along and
Yes.
develop?
You'll
Yeah, it
see
does.
you'll see more and more of it come out.
That's exciting.
I
That's
like
kind of
that.
Like what the
Yeah.
Manicam did with looking at Orion, where you just dwell on the stars and it comes out. So
Different
people can
reasons.
see
And,
that.
and what was great about it was a 20-year-old kid that was out in the freezing cold while us old guys stayed inside.
Yeah, but my point is, if you're doing that kind of thing, you're not making pretty pictures. If you're
No.
making pretty pictures, you're not doing stacking, or not doing live stacking, I should say.
Right.
Right. But there, if we recognize that there are two different kinds of imaging, one's for public show and one's for making really cool images, and they don't always overlap, then we just recognize that those are two different things.
Of
Yeah.
course, if you're doing planets, they really are the same thing.
Okay. Well, let's do planets too.
You got Jupiter and Saturn coming. It'll be in the night sky not too long. Saturn's coming up at about 2 something, and Jupiter's coming up about 3 a.m.
Right. If you wanna see what we were able to do, you let me share the screen and I could show it to you.
Oh yeah. Go for it.
All right. Share screen 2. All right, this was from our newsletter, and it had me with my cat Penny, working the Zoom session, for the membership, and what we were looking at using Stellarium.
Okay.
And Sam, our member, this is his scope right here that that he is using, for
Right.
his setup. And this was the image of the Orion Nebula
Nice.
that he did. And it was one of the easier ones. And then from there he progressed to the Horsehead and the Flame Nebula.
And these were these evolved as people were watching.
Yes,
And how long did that evolution take?
I would say the final image was really done in about like 5 minutes.
Well, I
Oh,
can tell
wow.
you from the screen that Horsehead Nebula was about a 30-second exposure, and it looks like it's got 12 images stacked in it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, but the people watching can see that come into to view.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I like that. That's got a real time
I
aspect
like
to
that
it.
too, yes.
Yeah, I have to take a look and see if I actually published that evening when we were going along, but these were the freeze images that I took for our newsletter. Then here, you know, we have the Rosette Nebula,
Nice.
Thor's hammer, a helmet, and the last one we did that night was the Whirlpool.
So like Greg said, they're not gonna be pretty pictures, but they're going to be real.
They're going to be real, and they're going to be, for me, I would say acceptable for a live session.
Absolutely. That would be great.
And I think that gives you an opportunity to tell people what stacking is, which
Yeah.
is, which is. a
Well,
good
yeah,
thing.
we did a lot. We tried to do like a lot of filler as this was going along. So as he was setting up, going from, you know, one object to another, then I would cut the Zoom session back to me, and I would talk in Stellarium as to what we were, you know, going for the next target.
We kind of did that with Greg's when Greg was doing short exposures.
Yeah.
And sharing, and we were talking in between.
Right.
And
Well, with this live stacking idea, if you're taking 5 or 10 minutes, which is fine,
Yeah.
you know, somebody could look at that and say, oh, okay, that's the status right now. Let me go check another telescope, see how that guy's doing, and come back later and
Yes.
see how you've
Oh,
improved it.
wow.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Wow, wow, wow.
Have two members doing it. To have
Or-
two members doing it, and the person responsible for the session could be switching back and forth between them.
Yes.
And I'm thinking even more because I see like we've got about a half a dozen photographers, Greg, who are posting on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If we could get them to twist some arm or, you know, beg,
Well,
whatever we have to do.
That's important too, but one of the things that Jim just said, I want to get back to, he said, you know, the guy in control of the Zoom session could be switching back and forth. Eric has worked out a way we don't need to do that.
Well, or you do
Sort of.
want to do that. I'm gonna take the screen back if I can.
Yes, I'll stop sharing.
Oh, that was excellent, Jim.
Yeah, thank you. That was neat.
Right.
So let's see if I.
Right. And if you want me to hook you up with the kid Sam from our group, he's I think he's a physics major here in New Jersey. I could try hooking him up with you if you want to talk.
Well, here's
about how
where
he
I'm
did it.
going with this. I was going to say this later, but we don't all have to be at one place. We've already mentioned that. So it would be possible to have a star party with somebody at Lake Taconic, somebody in their backyard, somebody in New Jersey, somebody up in the Adirondacks, somebody at West Point, because I've talked to Dr. Fichetta there about that. They are over the summer working on getting the capability to share images from their telescope to the internet.
Right.
And
And-
they have software license issues. You can only have one license of the software running at a time, and so they're dealing with that. But
And the highlight of all that would be, we would have a couple of real live astronomers like Greg and Steve showing in right there in front of you how this is done and what's going on.
And it's also possible that if it's cloudy in one part of New York, it's not cloudy in another, and we might actually get some observing in from a couple of different places, even if some places are clouded out.
More likely, we're going to cause clouds over the entire state.
That's how it works, right?
Or nation.
That's how it works. So, okay, so here's what we were just talking about. I lay out. I'm calling this round robin because, as Jim mentioned and others, that the person running the Zoom meeting can pick on somebody. So we and blue would I just use blue for like club members and orange for visitors, the public.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so, and we, you know, Zoom has a waiting room, so people come into the waiting room, but also there's different formats you could have. You could have everybody supposed to show up at the beginning because we're going to do presentations, or you could have people coming in, dropping in and leaving. And, you know, we're trying, which format do we want? This one would be like the host would greet people who come in, or at least let them in, but also maybe go from here. We've got 3 telescopes and maybe the nanny cam, and you might rotate in between them and see, well, what's on Tim's scope, and what's on Willie's scope, and what's on Greg's scope, and what's on the RoboCam, to look around. And as we mentioned, if one of these scopes is doing a long image, a long exposure with stacking, then we'll come back in 15 minutes to see what they've got. But you can be on other scopes at this. And you could also have I didn't think about it. We could put stellarium in here, so you could be looking, going back to, well, what are we looking at, and what part of the sky are we looking at, and going around. Be kind of just a live show, but everybody's in the same main meeting room. So
yeah, I'm trying to think here as you're talking, how we could work this in with people who are attending the actual the real star party.
Well, here's the RoboCam, and this person, if they're working this scope, is also talking to people who are standing around their scope, right?
Right, but maybe somebody could go around with the nanny cam, and you know, the man on the street kind of thing. Okay, over here we have, like, Michael showed up. He hasn't been there because of COVID, and he's got a whiz bang.
Jack did that at one meeting, and I think it worked really well, but it also takes away from Jack doing other things. So
well, that's what we need. We need somebody who is willing to be the
MC or the
MC.
host.
That's just
so.
Well, and you also have, like, with the ASI Air Pro, you know, when I use it, I have a tablet, so I've got a screen there that can be visible to everybody.
Right.
Yes.
Walking by.
And as I said, you and Greg would be the highlights, because this is what's really happening. And these other people are at home somewhere because they couldn't get here or whatnot. And
or
even not just walking by, but you can have it Wi-Fi'd out to a projector, and you could be projecting what you're doing on a screen.
Yes, and that's actually the people at the walkway. Oh, I forgot to mention this in my walkway report.
okay, I like that.
They've constructed on the walkway over the Hudson. They've constructed a new visitor center on the east side of the river. It's got some indoor visitor space with a 75-inch TV. And we talked about the possibility of sending video images from the telescopes out on the walkway to that TV, so that people didn't want to walk all the way out on the bridge, or want to just sit there, or maybe there would be a presentation or something, or people have walked off, but they could still see, just to show them what's on the telescope. So that's another thing that's possible.
That's
and keep in mind, even though this is a Zoom room, but this telescope could be in New Jersey, and this telescope could be in Greg's backyard, and this telescope could be at West Point, or at SUNY New Paltz. Is Raj still here? Because he could be there showing us images from the Smolin Observatory.
Raj is here. He doesn't have a microphone though.
Yeah, so
we investigated doing that with the Novans Planetarium before the college said no.
Okay.
Because of COVID.
He wants to do it in the planetarium. Yeah.
Because of COVID.
Yeah, but he'll be with that. There's an observatory there also.
There's
Jim.
an observatory. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the other way to do this. So this is the simplest I can think of, and I think it's got, and it takes the fewest number of people to kind of run the thing, right? A person for each telescope, and maybe a host in the main room, who's kind of running the show and letting people in. We could have more, but we can't have fewer.
Can't have less, yeah.
Yeah, but here's the idea with breakout rooms. You could put a telescope in each breakout room, and in Zoom, the thing that makes this work is that people there's an option that you check the box to let people assign their own breakout rooms. And the controls are a little complicated, but once you get, Zoom was complicated at the beginning of the pandemic, and now everybody's an expert, especially my daughter. She'll tell you so herself, but many times.
Except the people in this meeting today.
Yeah, well, as long as we have the right link at the right time.
Yeah. So again, people come into the waiting room and you have a host, but the host lets them in, but then maybe tells them, hey, we're at the star party, and maybe shows them what's going on at the RoboCam and explains to them that how it works with the breakout rooms, that you can pick which breakout room you want to go into. And when you do, you're like your own little meeting with one telescope.
You know, I was thinking, Eric, if we, like with my broadcast program for streaming, I can put in different video feeds. So if there's a way to connect to Zoom, 5 times or whatever, one for each breakout room, I could technically be an eye in each one of those and have those shared as a source for the main entry room.
Yeah,
to give a preview.
Unfortunately, you can't get in on one machine more than once. The only way around that is use another machine.
Oh yeah, even if you go to like a different browser or something, you don't try and do it through the Zoom app.
I've tried that months ago, and it recognizes that it's the video feed that you're getting into Zoom. In other words, Zoom allows you to select which camera you want to use.
Right.
Right. But if you go to a different browser on Zoom, your computer says, I'm getting a video feed from over here and sending it over to there. If you say to this Zoom section, well, I want this video feed from over here to go over there, everything stops. It doesn't like it.
Okay.
I'll have to try it. Yeah.
I think it'd be worth a try.
Yeah, there may be a way around it, and the person I would need to ask moved out, my son, so I'll have to get a hold of him, because he's a security guy that does deal with multiple feeds of video all the time, for security cameras. So, and he's also a big streamer, so it may be a way of easily marrying the two.
Yeah, it's not that you can't do multiple feeds. I'm doing, I can switch my video feed here, but it's the same Zoom session.
Yeah.
So it's when you want to start from one system, another Zoom feed, it doesn't like that. It's not that sophisticated.
But what about if you're doing the Zoom in a browser only version of it?
Yeah, I'm going to try and do it right now.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Now notice, okay, so I've got 2 blue dots in some of these rooms because I imagine the person running the telescope out at the star party is there, but now we've got a breakout room. So now do we need a host for that breakout room? I didn't put one here, but it might actually take more people to run a party this way, just because we might need a tag team for each telescope of somebody on the scope physically and somebody online in that breakout room to help people.
I would say that that's optimal, but in some cases there might be a few people. I'm probably one who can perform both, but I would not expect everyone to be able to do that.
So we might, especially for people who are just getting started and learning how this somewhat complicated thing, we might need to have a tag team, a pair of people to help run it. Also, this is Steve and Jeff, because at the last meeting, while I was fiddling around with the breakout rooms, and I was experimenting with the breakout rooms and doing getting a feed from the scope, they just had a grand old time getting caught up, and we're chatting.
Yeah, what that, Steve? We got our own box out of that.
And so now here's the reason I mention this is that when you set up the breakout rooms, you can set them out once and name them, and then you can't change it without turning off the breakout rooms. Now you can turn off all the breakout rooms and then make a change and then turn them on again. But then everybody's kind of scrambled or out and has to go oh, you know, I was in this room and now I'm not. Actually, if you were in a room, I think you go back into it. So you might have to send out, if you're going to make a change, you might have to send out a message to everybody saying, please stand by. There's going to be some disruption to the breakout rooms. Add the room you wanted to do it as quickly as possible, and then turn the breakout rooms back on. And then people will, I think, go back to their existing rooms, and there's a new one for, if you want to add a telescope and you didn't have a breakout room for it.
Well, you could just start out with more breakout rooms than you need.
Yes.
Just label them A, B, C, D.
I like that. I think we had run. I liked labeling them by who they are, if we can,
If possible, but yeah.
But we
Well-
might, yeah. So what we might do is create some for the people we know are going to be there, and then create some extras, A, B, C, D, that could either be chat rooms, or somebody comes with a telescope and wants to join. We put them in that room, but we might create more rooms than we think we would need. That's something I learned.
How many scopes are you actually envisioning to be used at one time?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Very good question.
Because if it's, we'll say hypothetically, just like 2 scopes,
Yeah,
you may not really need to do the breakout room.
I agree. And then we might just.
True, that's true for 2 scopes, yes.
And the person on the scope is sufficient enough with switching back and forth in Zoom.
Yes.
Yeah.
That might be a tough ask, though.
I
That last one could be, I don't want to go and say that everybody who's good with a scope is also good with their imager and Zoom.
Right.
So I'd much rather, that's why I said optimally, I'd like to have 2 people per scope, let's say, or per room at least. And then if some people are good with it, then we don't have to have the second one.
So
But,
I'm presenting these more as what's possible, but not necessarily what's the best. And I think that what's best depends upon the format. This is round robin is good for like a scheduled meeting presentation kind of thing. And it's also best when you have the fewest people.
Yeah.
I now would like to see a regional star party with as many scopes as possible in different breakout rooms, all at the same time. And the other thing I like about the breakout rooms is that it mimics what really happens at a star party, where you walk down the line, you go from scope to scope, you talk, oh, what's this? Oh my, I used to have one of these, or I've heard about these, or, how does this work? And you chat locally with all this person, and then you leave and go to the next scope. And I think that's kind of cool. But I see this challenge now of getting like Raj and Paula at West Point, and Jim, maybe we can, and CJ and whoever else, just a big star party all on Zoom. I think it would be cool. But
and I think that having the breakout rooms would be very important for that.
Yes, I think it would be. Although you could also imagine having them all do the breakout rooms for a while, and then at some point you might do this, or you might start like this with everybody in the big room to introduce them and do a round robin. Here's this one, here's that one, here's that one. And then they all go into the breakout rooms and people can go and chat further. See, so there's a hybrid.
That's a double hybrid.
Well,
yes.
Let's not call it hybrid, because that means something else, a mixture. And maybe these are the only 2 ways I thought of using it. There might be others that we think of. That's a combination of that. So, and notice I didn't have room, so I made a smaller circle. So some people do bring their kids.
Oh.
Yeah.
What strikes me about this whole discussion is you're talking about a big production here.
I know.
You got to have managers, you have to have directors and choreographers and
no, not really.
A script.
No, that was that's the way the Texas guys were doing it.
It's certainly not as relaxed as just driving out to the lake and setting up your scope.
I'm gonna create 2 breakout rooms, and I was able to get 3 video feeds from 3 different Zoom sessions into one video, and I'll share it, and I'll put one in each breakout room and I'll leave the other
Okay,
one.
let's practice breakout rooms then. I'm gonna stop the share. And, oh, am I host? Oh, I am. How, you were supposed to be host.
Yeah, you didn't send it back to me once we,
With the Facebook, yeah.
I
Okay,
can create the breakout rooms here. I'm
many
gonna create
breakout
2 of them.
rooms?
I'm gonna do 2 of them.
I'm gonna create 4.
Oh, okay.
So it'd be interesting on the recording. I wonder what happens with that.
Oh yeah, we have to look when and see what happens. Okay, I'm checking when I create them. It gives me. I don't know if you can see my screen. You can't. It gives me, but it'll be in the recording, I think. No, it won't. It probably won't. It tells me create how many breakout rooms, and I can either assign automatically, assign manually, or let participants choose the room. So I'm going to let participants choose the room. And I'm going to call them, they're labeled room 1, room 2, room 3, and room 4, but I could rename them or delete them at this point. I'm going to open all the rooms. And when this happens, you will have a new control. This is the hard part. We're going to have to tell people about it because they're not used to it. You will all have a control at the bottom of your screen that lets you choose what breakout room you're going into. And when you want to leave the breakout room, you use the leave button like you normally would leave the whole meeting. But when you click on it, you'll be given 2 choices, either leave meeting or leave breakout room. That's more complicated. So this stuff, training, we have to do training. People are not familiar with it, but let's try it. Ready? Set, go.
Toink. Hey, look, breakout rooms.
Join a breakout room.
Join a breakout room. Okay.
So, oh, breakout room. So I click on that icon, breakout rooms?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I want to go to Jim Webster in New Jersey.
Okay.
Let's go there. Oh, I hit join. I'm sorry.
We're supposed to join?
Yes. Go explore. Go pick a breakout room and join. Steve's got video in 3 of them, and the 4th one is just for, I don't know.
So I'll share my multi-view here. Hope somebody's trying to get in.
Yeah, how does that work? Oh, okay, someone's in.
I went to meeting room 2 and lost everything. Did everybody else go away?
You know what else? I don't think the host can go into the breakout rooms.
Well, I wasn't the host.
I'm the host.
And we're down to only 6 people.
What do you mean?
Well, let's see. Maybe that's here. Hold on.
That's here. They're all in the breakout rooms.
On the breakout room. Yeah, but 2. Okay, notice room 2. Look at the contents of room 2.
Yeah, you're assigned to it, but you're not joined yet. I can move you there.
Well, it kicked me off entirely.
Well, let's put you back.
Okay, well, I'm back here. I'm going to go in. I'm going to try and join it again. Let's just see what happens.
Oh, I can move you. Yeah, and Bill's having troubles. Everyone's going to room 1.
I'm talking and nobody's hearing me because my microphone's off. Yeah, I went to room 3 and that was fine. And I talked to Raj, but Raj didn't talk back because he can't. And then I clicked on leave, but there's a button that says leave room, not leave. And when you click on that, now you have the choice of leave room or leave meeting.
That's the confusing
so
part.
There's actually a 2 leave step.
Exactly.
You leave room and then you have to leave room again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, 2nd time in a row, I got completely kicked off Zoom when I went to room 2. I don't know why that is.
Raj is trying to tell me something. I don't know what he's trying to tell me. He's making all kinds of. He's typing. Oh, he typed, I guess.
In the chat.
Yeah. How do I chat with
only my roommate? I think, yes, the chat, like on Blackboard that you and I are familiar with, Raj, I think there's a chat for the breakout room. No? Okay. We need to explore that.
So I was able to see everybody, 3 different rooms.
And you got 3 different video streams?
Yeah, if you go, I'm sharing on the main room, not a breakout room.
Right.
And what I found was, I think you could definitely do it like this. You would just have to turn off all the audio for your other.
Steve, you
I was getting like
successfully,
audio from every single, I think from every room at the same
Steve,
time.
you successfully got into room 2? I guess Mark now did too.
Yeah, I'm in room 2 there.
When I go to room 2, I am thrown off Zoom entirely.
Huh. And now I can broadcast a message to all, and that would be to tell you that the breakout rooms are going to end here. But as host, I don't think I can, I don't see a way for me to join a breakout room.
Maybe you have to stay in the main one. I don't know.
Exactly.
Let me see if I can push you to one, maybe. Let's see.
A couple of things to note. When you flip a breakout room, you are muted when you go to the other room.
Okay.
And you can't go from one breakout room to the other. You have to always go back to the main session.
Okay.
No, I was going from one to another.
You were?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I think
I wasn't able to.
You
Well,
go-
how did you do that? Did you use the leave breakout room or did you use
No, there's at the bottom where you see
You click the
chat
breakout room button again.
and participants and record, you got breakout rooms.
Yeah, it might be under
it's
more.
Oh, I
Choose
see.
one.
Okay, it's a second. Let me try that again.
I'm going to try to go to room 4 and let's see if I can get there without getting kicked out. See what happens.
I'm going to try and join again.
Yeah, I don't seem to be able to push you, Eric, to a breakout room. It doesn't show, you're not in the list. So maybe because you're the host.
I don't have any option to join. And that's weird actually, because I know I use breakout rooms in my teaching using Blackboard, not Zoom.
Yeah.
And I would go to the different breakout rooms. Raj, thanks for joining.
Yeah, it seems like
All
you
right.
should be able to, but
And so as the teacher, I would go from breakout room to breakout room to see how people were doing and answer questions.
Oh,
so are you able to see what I'm sharing in the not breakout room, the regular?
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. So you can see that I got 2 different browser windows open, Steve 2 and 3, which are in different breakout rooms right now.
Right.
And then the other one is because I'm sharing and I'm currently showing my broadcast suite in front of me.
Is it possible that either a host or a co-host needs to be in the main room to let people in?
Possibly, yes.
Am I listed as a co-host right now, or just
You are a co-host.
okay? So I
Are
should
you
be
in the main room?
I should be in the main room, yeah.
Okay.
So whose screen are we looking at right now?
So that's me sharing my broadcast suite that has 3 separate feeds coming in. Just doing a screen share, but I might be able to do it differently. But screen share of different browsers. So I'm connected to the Zoom.
Oh,
meeting.
wait.
So somebody's stuck in Steve too?
So there's Bill and Steve too, and Jim just joined him. I don't know which room that was, maybe 2 or 3. Let's see, that was Bill, Jeff, Jim, and now Tim are over in room 2.
I think I can join. I now see the join buttons.
Yeah, you might have to go to more or something like that. And then over in, see, Steve 3 with Jack is over in room 1. Looks like I can't move. Oh yeah, I see you moved, Eric, into where I see you now as an option anyway. MHAA, Eric.
Yeah, looks like everybody's going. Oh, he's in a room. Yeah, he's talking. I can't hear him.
Eric, you're on mute. Oh no, he's in the other room. I just see him talking in the other room.
Yeah, he's in the room, right?
I have that room muted. Otherwise, I was hearing audio from 3 rooms at once. So it was mind numbing.
Eric is the host now, but he's not here. Yeah, just that's strange. I got a notice on my screen said Eric is the host. He's not even in the main room.
So I think what I would probably do is disable this one. And then I can move. I can make these bigger.
Obviously, it's very simple.
Here we go. So I'm at the main,
right.
The main room, and I'm seeing 2 of the breakout rooms.
Yeah, you see, this is Steve's screen.
Okay. But there are still 4 rooms. Okay, here's a
Yep.
wow.
I'm back.
All right, so he stopped sharing.
So we got Ryan back. I didn't know Ryan was here before.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So it looks like everyone's coming back, but the breakout room control is still there.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I got muted when I left.
Yes.
When I came back to the main room
Came
here.
back to main, you're muted.
But when I went from room A to room B, I did not get muted.
That may be from the original option for first joining Zoom, that everybody comes in muted.
Yeah,
Yep.
maybe.
I think that's true.
This is pretty wild.
Eric, you're muted.
Yeah, when you come back, you're muted. Come back to main.
And every time I change, my screens get all rearranged. I have two monitors, and I have both are on full screen. But then when I change, they go back. They go to not full screen, and I have to click on them to get them back to full screen.
I've got 3. I'm worse.
Oh,
Eric, you're muted.
That was definitely doable. I could have one browser session open up and connected to Zoom in each of the breakout rooms, and then share that into the main room.
That's interesting. That's a change then.
So Eric, you're still muted.
Yeah,
you got to shout louder.
3. I'm showing him in room 3 though.
Yeah, Eric is in. How is Eric showing up in the main if he's
both in main and room 3?
Eric signed in twice, so he's got.
Oh,
I think he's under the MHA account as well as himself.
So why
It's a ghost presence.
Does he not hear us? that he's still muted.
Maybe because he's still in the other room.
Did anyone try messaging, chat for the room?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Eric is in room 3 by the looks of things, and I'm going to go there and tell him that he's muted.
Yeah,
he's leaving.
No, not yet.
Tim disappeared.
I could close all the rooms. That should bring him back.
Yeah.
Voice the man. Oh, there I see Eric at 4 and 3. Obviously needs a little bit of experimentation here.
Yeah.
Jack, this is like jumping through time and space. I'm not sure.
How can you be in 2 places at once when you're not anywhere at all?
That's why I was just saying to Eric, this is going to require a lot of hand holding for a lot of people.
Yes. Yes.
This might be a question for Eric. Has anyone just tried to put the nanny cam up to an eyepiece to see what the low light infrared would look?
That would be really, really tough to do, although it probably could be done.
Yeah, getting that line would be rough.
It's round, it's inconvenient, you know, and you have well, you don't have a good monitor on it, so you have to use something else to monitor what it's seeing.
You may have to cannibalize one just to try it.
Yeah.
It would be it's much easier to do some kind of dedicated sensor, but it's possible.
Are you talking about trying to do something just pointing up?
Well, yeah, he's got pictures of the Orion stuff he was taking, and he can point it. I don't think he can point it, you know, at 90, but I think he can get close.
You could take just like a regular astro camera on a tripod, just let it point it up, and use like Sharp Cap and share that live stream.
Yeah, I've done that before with the fisheye lens.
It's a simpler version of what I got behind me right now.
Yeah, I'd like to see that thing. That runs.
Eric is still muted.
Is he still in room?
Oh, and I can unmute it
now.
Oh, there you go.
Did we lose Greg?
So I put the nanny cam in room 4.
Oh, you're Eric MHAA. Okay.
I don't know what my issue with room 2 was initially. That was weird.
Probably just a momentary thing.
Well, yeah, except it happened 3 times.
3 momentary thing.
Yeah, 3 momentary things. It's just me.
Okay. So this is complicated in many ways, but the thing is, it works. And then the challenge is to make it work easier. And
you may have to have just like one person available to work out technical issues for individuals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One thing that would make it a little easier.
And it seems like you might need one person to pair with the telescope operator if we're doing breakout rooms.
I would think we could do this the same way we're kind of running the nanny cam, is that we let's start with one breakout room,
right?
And the main room, and in the main room, you know, we could have the nanny cam, we can have explanations, we can have help sessions, we can have introductions, and then what we do is we tell you know, anybody who isn't familiar with breakout rooms, we can tell them how to find the breakout room, go to the telescope in room 1. And you know, cover that way, and then we'll get familiar with it, and then we add another room. You know, we don't want to have to start with 5 rooms.
How about you consider starting a new room every 10 minutes and telling newcomers that, you know, scope 1 is starting at the top of the hour, and then hopefully you can complete whatever, say, that introduction is, and then restart that introduction process in 20 minutes. So you've got 10 minutes to complete it, then you wait 10 minutes, and then you start it again. So in other words, you can tell, so that way you can tell people coming in, if you go to channel 3 at 20 after, you'll get the beginning of the speech and an introduction of what that session is about. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Possible. Yeah.
Sure.
It might also be possible to make a little quick YouTube training video to show people how to go into breakout groups and come out.
Put that on a breakout room.
That may already be there.
Yeah.
I can put labels too. If we're sharing multiple images of the different feeds from the different breakout rooms, we can put labels over each one that says, you know, this is breakout room 1, breakout room 2. That would help.
So let's see what happens when I add a breakout room. Because in order to add one, I have to close them, I think. Let me see.
Does that mean there's a limit as to the number of rooms?
I don't know.
No, it's just weird. You just have to define them once or trash them all. There's no like add an additional one.
Oh. You got to do it all in the beginning. So each room could be the name of the object that the astronomer is looking at.
Yes.
Yeah,
Plus the
then
name of
you'd
the
have to change
astronomer.
every time though, unless you wanted to stay on that all night.
Yeah, well, that has, that's, we'll have to iron
Oh.
that out.
Yeah, it's easy. Actually, it's easier to do what Jeff suggested, ABCD. It's slightly less easy to do it as the name of the telescope, name of the astronomer with the telescope. Any of those we'd have to shut everything down to bring them back with another telescope, a fifth one, let's say.
Oh,
Apparently.
I guess you could make some empties and just not use them but to have them in cache without having to
We can, yeah, we could have empty ones, sure.
Can you change the name? If you determined that you
Yeah.
cannot change the name of them?
I haven't found a way to change them on the fly.
Huh.
But, although,
Well, you can change your own name,
Yes.
right?
that's,
so the person whose room it is can label it?
You
So
can
that-
label yourself.
I
I
don't
don't think
think
you
Can
can
label yourself, okay.
It'll still be called room 1, 2, 3, 4, but when you go there, we'll just have the name of the object at the bottom.
Okay, I think we lost Greg. We probably gave him a headache.
Oh, getting invited
Oh,
now.
Yeah.
Join Eric in room 3.
RoboCam. Okay, join.
It says invite to see, meet him in room 1? No, 3? Need my glasses on. Oh, yeah. No, it says 1.
Everybody's going to RoboCam room.
hello. Oh, I need to,
RoboCam in here. What a lie.
that's because when the,
You're on mute in the RoboCam room.
Yeah, we can't
okay,
read lips.
sorry. That's because when we ended the breakout rooms, the share ended.
Okay. RoboCam. How come I got invited by Eric to room 3, but nobody else came in?
Because you were in that room. That was the last room you were in.
You guys trying to deliver the You guys are slick.
So what are we seeing? What's this thing on the tripod?
It's Eric's front yard. He just turned his light out. It says ETX or whatever.
This is when you see the truck pull up and then grab the scope.
Exactly.
That happened.
I guess it's taking a while to adjust because it's starting to.
Oh, yeah. Down in Texas, there's an astrophotographer by the name of Tom Pickett. And he watched his Takahashi rig just roll off in the back of the truck.
Wow. Oh, God. I don't trust my outside no matter where I am if I'm not near it.
Interesting. Even in your yard. Yeah, he just went inside to go check on the cat because it was in labor. When he came back out, he saw it driving away.
Well, that old excuse.
So that must have been an opportunity, opportunistic.
The
about the Steelers.
a Martian, yeah. The vendors all got together and replaced all his equipment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it was a setup and he sold the other one.
Yeah, now he's got 2 Takahashis and a cat.
So I could see how it takes a while for that camera to get an image to evolve, and that's why he had to look for a while at the sky to see Orion, right?
Yes.
It didn't just show up automatically. It took maybe a half a minute.
Yeah, and I think at the star parties too, he has had the infrared light on, which probably makes the it's brighter when it's pointing at anybody. You can see them more easily, but it probably causes it to be a bit out of sync in terms of how exposed it is. When it's looking up versus when it's looking sideways.
Right.
So it doesn't seem like what I'm looking at is heat. In other words, his skin should be the brighter thing, and it's not. It looks like it's a low light.
Yeah, it's just a night vision style, not not clear.
Okay.
Interesting carpet he's got in his front yard.
It's shaggy.
Yeah.
You know, this is a new version of yoga, by the way, when you're trying to find something in the telescope and it's up near the zenith.
Upward facing.
Astronomy yoga.
So is he gonna try putting a nanny cam up to the eyepiece?
No. He's, the nanny cam is showing what's there, right?
Right.
I think he's trying to find the moon, get the moon on his, iPhone right now. That's what my guess is.
Separate video feed. Or you can stream from the iPhone then.
Yes.
Well, he wasn't on when I was asking about using the RoboCam, the American, but yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I imagine that would be quite difficult, especially because the scope's going to be moving if you're tracking anything.
Yeah. Plus, like you don't have like a live view screen on the back of it or something to see where you're looking at.
Yeah, and there's not really anything to like hold the Handycam to either. It's hard enough even just with the cell phone to try and light up a little bit.
So he's gonna get the image on his.
Yeah, so he's back, but he's muted.
All right. You're gonna get the image on his cell phone and then do a share screen so we can see what he's looking at, which I assume is the moon.
So you guys
trying to share that cell phone?
You guys watching me?
Yeah.
So I tried to share the cell phone in room 5. You saw me messing with the scope. Well, I've got the phone on there and trying to hit the moon, but I thought I'd come in and talk, and it had some problems sharing the screen, but I put it into room 5.
Oh, so now we're all going to room 5.
But Eric, now you're in the main room, right?
Right now I'm in the main room on
Right.
one screen and I'm on the RoboCam on a different computer, but I'm gonna go to room 5.
But yet we hear everybody in room 5. I'm in the main room also, and I hear everybody in room 5. But
I'm on 2 computers, so.
Oh, just to make things interesting. Controlled experiments aren't something that we excel in, is it? Do they teach that at the college?
Okay, where did I come in? Zoom meeting, main room.
Yeah, you're in the main room. How about that?
Yeah, well, I got kicked off again trying to go to RoboCam.
Let me go. I'm going to room 5. That's where the party is right now.
Okay, I'll try going to room 5 as well. If I don't show up there, have them check over to see if I'm trying to log in.
Steve, all I see is 2 white rectangles on your screen.
Unmute.
Unmute.
There we are.
Gotta remember. Everybody's gotta remember to unmute.
Oh, good point.
Is that going to be a
Now we're back to the
concern now?
recording.
If you're in the breakout room, you won't be able to record what you're doing in them.
It's going to be like a 20-minute hole in the recording. It's like,
Fast forward.
Right. Probably have to do some editing before you post it tonight.
So for our remote party, the main room will be basically you, right, Eric? You're the
Well,
the
somebody, yeah.
master MC of the star party.
either Eric or me, I suppose.
Well, somebody. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to share the whole thing.
Well, would this, what we've seen tonight, be a concern if you're trying to record everything now? Because if everybody leaves the main room, the breakout rooms were not being recorded.
Yeah, that may be, but there's a trade-off between recording what went on and people participating in a live event.
Yeah, and I do believe you can record in a breakout room.
Can you?
I believe I was talking to helping Carl find out how to shift rooms and see the list.
Yeah.
I believe, Carl, didn't we see record as one of the options down there while we were in the room?
Yeah, it was there.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot of things to investigate that we don't know, and there's a lot of things that are awkward or take some time to get used to. Everybody's figured out how to leave a breakout room. On Zoom, if you go to WebEx or Blackboard, it's different. But and also, we started out trying all these ideas out because of all the restrictions from COVID, and those are going to go away. So I at least for the summer and hopefully forever, although in the fall we may have some limitations again if not enough people get vaccinated. So maybe this was a fun exercise and to figure out how technically to get all this stuff to work, but we wouldn't use it. On the other hand, for people who are knowledgeable about how to do this and have some experience, a regional star party.
Yeah.
With all these different stations, all looking at whatever they can look at.
I'll talk to our group.
Yep. That might just be a cool thing to do every once in a while.
Yeah, I think as an like its own event, it might be the ideal way to use something like that as opposed to every single time.
We all got to have that 20-year-old kid that'll go out there in January 1st. and we were really grateful that he did it too.
Very, very cool.
And
he's a good kid.
Somebody's got to communicate with our other photographers in our club.
Yeah. If you're worried about everybody leaving the main room and having nothing that's broadcasting, you just put another scope on the main room.
Well, if the main room is the RoboCam, then you'll be seeing what people are doing.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
And Eric, did you hear me ask the question, has anyone ever tried to actually hold the RoboCam up to an eyepiece?
No, nobody has tried that. Shall we?
Difficult, but worth a try, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to be kind of.
He's going to try it.
He's going out to the yard again.
Yeah, but where's the RoboCam? He hasn't got a RoboCam share, does he?
Yeah, it's right now.
It's
that's what you're looking at.
No, you're looking at the ETX.
I'm looking
but the RoboCam's broadcasting.
Okay, gotcha.
So he's going to get the RoboCam and bring it over, I would assume.
Got to line up the
the
thing on the moon and then bring the RoboCam over.
Take a RoboCam of the phone.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. He's taking the phone off and going right to the eyepiece.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's going to be a tough one because you won't be able to tell when it's in there except through the phone.
He just shook his head no.
You should know, yeah.
Well, no. Wait.
Oh, no. RoboCam, move, Kimasabi.
I'm getting dizzy.
You need something like CamBot from MST 3000.
Right.
Well, you still got the phone on there.
Well, that's useless. Oh, that's the other problem. The phone's probably going to be an IR. I mean the cam.
Right, there's no image on the screen.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think he can actually control that. I think the camera figures that out. It's fun. You get a nice thing on its face sensor.
Oh, he's trying to move it up to it with the tripod. I was talking about hand holding.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what he's trying to do. But keep in mind, there's no monitor on the camera.
Yeah.
So he's got to use the Zoom session to see what it is he's pointing at.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
It's telling us that the screen is warmer than the rest of the
Yeah.
machine, the rest of the telescope.
So the RoboCam is always infrared images, or it can be visible?
It's self-selecting.
It's kind of like it's a mixture, I think.
Yeah, when it has enough light.
Look, there it is.
Up.
Yeah.
Now he's got to get the RoboCam in the eyepiece.
Yeah, it's got a little tough.
I think he was just trying to get the RoboCam to the phone.
Yeah.
I don't think that was the goal.
No, it's gonna
Oh,
always see that
no,
space
you can't
right.
see it. I got it really nice.
Well, yeah, that's what I said is you can't see what Scott was saying is see if you can point the RoboCam down the eyepiece like we're
Right.
using the
Yeah,
camera on the phone for it.
not at the not
But
at
the
front.
problems with that are it's going to be an IR and you can't see where you're pointing.
Right.
Right.
Well, I thought the IR would be cool, but yeah, you're right. You need a
And then
monitor.
you'd have to use the phone. What you'd have to have Zoom on your phone.
Zoom on the phone, and you get
see
a
where the
delay.
camera was pointing.
Yeah, you get a delay too.
Oh, he's going to try it anyway.
Someone's gonna have to hack the RoboCam and to get and shut off the IR.
Well, no,
Unless the
I think
RoboCam has an
IR
app
might
on
be
the phone.
cool.
that'd be
Oh,
even better.
he's going right. He's going right for the eyepiece.
Couldn't he go try and focus?
Maybe he's gonna. Yeah, right. So maybe he's.
That'd be
mounting the
interesting.
phone so he can use the phone to try and monitor.
By now, the moon has moved out of view.
Right, exactly. Let's see. Okay, I think
Got to find a place to set down the
Yeah,
Check
so
it
where you don't
iPhone.
see it. Yeah.
might be able to clamp it on the leg.
Yeah, right.
These are like the old silent movies. This is reminds me of Mystery Science Theater. We're all talking as.
Oh, God.
They just restored. They're having 13 more episodes of that.
Oh, right.
Oh my God. Excellent.
They just
It
did
has
the
the music
fundraiser.
going and do, 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 do.
Right, Eric with an OTA sticking out of his back. Yeah.
Manos cam.
Yeah.
Just thinking is that if you don't have no way of mounting it to this telescope, how are you going to track anything then?
Yeah.
Well,
you have
sure.
like rubber
Yeah,
band it on.
exactly. It's the worst option, that's for sure.
Whose idea was this, Scott?
Yeah. Well, all right. So it's lined up pretty close.
I think he's got the infrared light on because that's way too bright when he moves it
Yeah.
closer.
Yeah, but the camera does that itself.
Oh,
Okay,
you
now
can't
it's-
just turn it off.
Now we're getting there.
Oh, so the camera is going to self-adjust.
Yeah. It's possible. Well,
No, it's
You can see the
yeah,
lights
it's
in
still
the
brought.
reflection there.
Yeah, it's still shining infrared into the
gotta turn
telescope.
these
yeah,
off.
because you can
Oh.
see it.
All right.
Might
Shut it
Here we
off.
go.
Oh, hey.
Oh, that's back.
have something pieces
That's
of it.
one way to get it lined up, though.
Yeah,
Yeah, use the lights to find center.
Yeah.
it is round, so
Like a bunch of narrow misses.
I think he's trying to do it on the tripod.
Yeah, it's not handled.
Just take it off the tripod and hold it up.
I was gonna say he's got to
Oh.
Yeah.
got to manually do that, baby.
Yeah.
But then you can't operate
it'll be
the
ju- it'll
telescope
be-
and hold
yeah,
on the
yeah.
RoboCam at the same time.
I sent
And it'll
support
be a lot
mission.
of vibration.
I think I would have given up 5 minutes ago.
I think it's a two-person job.
Yeah,
At least.
yeah. You'd really have to have a some way to mount it to the telescope
Yeah.
solidly. Yeah, like the phone.
I'm surprised there's still 15 of us hanging in here.
Yeah, I do have stuff to do before I go to bed too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to reset my router.
We're gonna leave before he gets back.
Is Carl still with us?
Yeah, but I'm gonna leave.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because you got to get up at 3 o'clock and look at Jupiter.
No,
So
well, the
No?
problem is June 11th is the earliest sunrise. And it's gonna be a real pain in the ass. It's just, we need more darkness in the morning. And we won't get it till June 12th.
yeah.
Oh,
I'm gonna leave. Have loads of fun there.
Wait, now
So-
tell him to come back in. Oh, there you
trying
go.
to put together a new moon trip into northern Pennsylvania. June that 12th. I think the new moon is the 10th or 11th.
Well, yeah, there's an eclipse on the 10th, so it's the 10th.
Yeah.
Is it on the 10th?
Yeah.
Is it?
That would be new moon.
Yeah.
That would be. Yep.
Exact new moon.
That's as new as you can get.
That's just new. That's new.
Yeah, I'll be at the seaside to see it.
Nice.
Yeah, the beach is the place to be.
Yeah, I tried to do that.
Yeah, nothing like a little wind shaking your telescope. I tried the beach in Florida a couple times. Well, it was a waste of time.
Well,
at
we're
dawn,
in
you don't
we're
get
in
the
Island Beach
onshore-
State
you don't-
Park all the time,
It's
and
often not
we've been
windy at
pretty good.
dawn. It's usually.
Oh, it
calm
just
at
happened to
dawn.
be windy, I guess, the day I was there, but or a couple times I tried it and I said, eh.
Yeah. Our biggest worry is the green flies.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But even at dawn, I don't know. You know, that's when the eclipse is, and I don't know if you have a problem with that. Let's see his house.
All right, well, guys, it's after 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I think we call it a night, but thanks for your feedback and ideas, guys. And
I'll tell you, Eric, I'm excited about this. I didn't think we'd get as far as we did.
well,
So-
we're gonna get more from your imager and try and get some of the other ones going too.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Everybody at Tim's house on Saturday.
All right, guys.
Very cool.
Yes,
All right,
good
everyone.
job, Eric.
Down.
Kill the recording and call it a night.
All
I think it was probably good we didn't send this out to Facebook.
Yes. Have a little editing first.
And I wonder what's going to happen next meeting with our Zoom links that we get.
Yeah, keep an eye on
Let's
We
play
were
some-
all over the map.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Oh, sure, that.
I just want to point out that this is the first time it happened, and this is the first time that I haven't been sending out the Zoom links.
All things
Uh-oh.
considered.
Oh,
All right, and I'll talk to my group and see what I can do about getting an interest of doing a joint
Nice.
joint venture. It would probably entail us using the kid's SAM, so I have to make sure when he's available.
Sure.
When do you have one of your star parties, Jim?
Right
Are
now,
they?
we haven't had any regular star parties since COVID, since we've been locked out of the state park
Oh, okay.
and the county parks, since it's all started. We're just starting to gear back up again. They've asked us to do presentations, so I'm already set for presentations in the fall and the winter, and we're just starting to talk to them about star parties.
One normally do you have one a month like we do, or how do you handle yours?
Island Beach State Park, we did like every Friday because they have their moonlight strolls for the
Oh, okay.
for the whole summer.
Oh, wow.
And then on Saturdays, we did the county parks, like, 2, maybe 3 times a month. So we're pretty busy from
I
like
guess
June all the way to
so. Yeah.
September,
Yeah.
under normal circumstances.
We're much lazier than that.
Yes.
But once a month, and then once in a while we get a clear sky.
Yeah, well,
Right.
we also find ourselves in there during the week too. Usually just the imagers, really.
How far is that from you?
Island Beach State Park is 3 miles.
Oh, that's why you're there
40 to
frequently.
70 we travel.
I'm an hour. I'm an hour and 20 minutes on a good night.
Oh, more like 5. If I go straight across the bay, it's 3 miles.
Nice.
What town do you live in?
I live in Tom's River.
Okay, oh, okay.
That's nice. All right. So we'll see everybody at next star party,
Yeah.
Indeed.
Night, everyone.
virtually or otherwise.
Good night.
Again, Eric.
Good night,
hey,
everybody.
guys.
Good night.
Good night,
Good night,
everybody.
everybody.
I
Thank
guess
you.
the recording will go away by itself once
I'm
we
gonna
all-
stop it.
Okay, there we go.